Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Catch a Glimpse podcast. This is episode 31. Here I am, Skeeter Keaton, with my co-host, Ryan
32.
Snapperdoodle.
32.
32, that's what I meant to say. I was thinking
We're
31 in my head for some reason.
we're very nervous about what we're about to talk about here in a little bit. It's
Yeah, so it's episode 32.
whew,
Me and Ryan. Frankie's not here. He is doing stuff. He's getting ready to move back to
yep.
college, I think. And
I'm sure he's
I
about to take some time to
yeah.
for what's
So
about to happen today.
So the day we're filming this is January 22nd.
Yep.
So the Saturday right before when we upload this 7:30 or no 7. I think we always get
7.
this
It, it,
confused
it
now.
is. I think it's
It's
7.
7.
I think it's 7.
7 a.m. iTunes and Spotify for this podcast and 4:30 p.m.
Yes.
YouTube with the visuals. It's the night before we upload this and it is the Packer game.
Yep. In
So
the next 2 hours, there's going to be
yeah.
a Packer versus 49er game for a for the playoff spot for the next spot.
Yeah, so it's just the next
Yeah.
just when we're still in the running. Which is actually that brings up like an idea of something else we could
Yeah.
further talk into about playoff stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But so we're gonna hop right into Packer talk. Um,
Okay, first of all, Frankie asked yesterday, he goes, "You guys have score predictions." In my mind, I'm just like, I don't want to give a score prediction for playoffs because if I jinx it, then that's on
well,
me, you know?
I I brought this up last podcast, which you should check out if you didn't watch last podcast. Um, like I brought the comparison of when we did the podcast during the Bucks championship run.
Mm-hmm.
Like I just straight out said like I feel like we're gonna win this one, and we just kept saying like, well, if by next podcast, like we win it and then we win it and stuff like that. We didn't jinx it, we won.
Right.
So
I don't know.
I'm
It's just
saying like I think
I think it's all scenario based because if you start talking like 2 hours before the game, yeah, we're gonna win. There's no shot we lose. Yada yada. And then
well
this is gonna look very bad the day after when it's
yeah.
been uploaded. It's just like, oh, this
Well, I'm
didn't
not
age
saying
well.
there's always a chance for him to lose,
Obviously,
but
but I don't want to jinx
of
it any
course
further.
I'm gonna predict that we win.
Yeah, that's why I said yesterday in the chat. I was like, we win. He goes,
Yeah.
score? I'm like, no, I'm not giving you that. Oh my god.
Yeah, and it's definitely just I mean, okay, we're first seed. We had a bye week, so we're definitely like healthed up. There's less for other teams to study up on us. So like we're in a good position, and you can say that just looking at it from the outside in. You don't have to be like a Packer fan to say that. We're in a good spot. So of course we all just hope
Yep.
that it plays out that way in the game. If we don't want to give score predictions,
You can give score
then
predictions. I don't want to jinx it.
I gave mine off in the Instagram chat. I won't do it. I'll
Okay.
leave it till next week
Okay.
because I'm sure we're gonna talk about this game no matter which way it goes next week in the podcast.
Yep.
So make sure you stay tuned and check that one out. But
Something.
I'll
Yeah.
I'll reveal it then.
Okay.
So
Something that I've witnessed during TikTok. There's this channel that with it's like a family of two girls and then a mom and a dad, and the dad is very very just like pro 49er, right? So he's like the type like Frankie, like he'll scream his head off, and his man cave is full of 49er stuff, and just like the 49ers actually like saw their TikToks and have been bringing them to games for free, like up in the like glass rooms, like not the nosebleeds, but you know what I'm talking about.
yeah.
And when they beat the Cowboys, right? He was yelling his head off, right? Now every video since they've beaten the Cowboys, the comments are just flooded with "Good luck with the Packers. I love you, man, but you're not beating the Packers." Like, just even though they're his fans, they're just not with him on the same page here, and I
Mhm.
love to see it.
Yeah, and that's just like there's a lot that is gonna go into this matchup that's not even like too obvious. Like okay, so the Packers are undefeated at home.
Yep.
So it's like, okay, well now we're playing at home.
Yeah.
But it's like you can't look into too much stuff like that because then you think like, okay, all of our occurrences with the 49ers in playoffs is like, okay, well that looks bad for us. So, but then you also look at, okay, we're playing at home and look how cold it's gonna be.
Yeah.
Like,
And
is this gonna like not to make like a super drastic comparison, but like, is this gonna be Ice Bowl V2?
what's
Like,
what's the temperature for those that aren't well versed in this game?
well, it's gonna be, I think, a real feel of like 5 degrees.
Yeah.
So,
And on that stage of TikTok, saw Green Bay Packers TikTok. They were all running out to practice in the early morning. They're all going. They're all just yelling, "Woo! Woohoo!" Like they go, "Is this it? This isn't cold." Like, and it's -4 degrees when they're playing,
yeah,
and that just shows that's a great factor for
yeah, definitely.
whenever we play teams that are used to the heat. You know,
Hmm.
and 49ers, see, they're going to be shivering, and we're just going to be
Yeah.
like, yo, what's up, boys? You can't catch the ball? Like, what? So, personally, I think we need to be. No, man. I'm just afraid of their
That's
run.
that's a tough call.
I'm afraid of
Yeah.
their run game because I know that our defense isn't, or our defense isn't the best with run game, right?
Hmm.
I don't know how their defense is, but I would say if it's cold, throw it, right? If obviously you're gonna lose mobility in your hands, man, right? Like eventually
See,
they're gonna become
but
icicles.
I mean, with okay, so like, yeah, talking about that, like Aaron Rodgers is of course played in this cold, so he's definitely very used to it.
Right,
But then also you gotta think like you're not like he's not always on the field. He's going back to the sidelines. They're warming up and everything.
right.
So you can factor that in for both teams. But yeah, it is going to be a tough call on, and it's going to be a really good test, I think, for just all of Green Bay coaching, especially just like for this game,
Yeah,
because like throughout the year, granted, again, our our standings, we were number one and everything, so it's like we've done really well. So it's going to be like this playoff game. Is I don't know. I don't want to like say stuff.
say much.
You know, yeah. So I don't know.
I would say even if
No.
we do win this game, we play the Buccaneers and they shut us down last year, and that was sad. So it's Tom Brady. I mean, come on. How do you, you know?
Yeah, like it's Tom Brady, but like I don't even know
But you could say the same thing. It's Aaron Rodgers.
exactly. That's what I don't like looking at like those comparisons. Like like Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers or
It's like you're
Patrick
good,
Mahomes.
but
Like it's not.
play ball.
I don't know. I don't really go. I wouldn't really go off of that. Like if you look at our team's like depth and like overall look, I would say our team looks better than the Buccaneers.
Yeah.
Um,
Score like
so
actual win loss wise, or just in general. 'Cause
oh
I
I
don't know their win loss.
oh like we're definitely. I mean,
So they might just be having a
just like
terrible
our
season.
team in
That's
general, I think.
yeah.
Like yeah,
Frankie probably would
I don't
have
know.
more input to it, but like he
I mean, we had the first seed, and
right.
you know,
Yeah, they're
so
what last seed. Come on, you know. But I mean, I don't have much else to say for what's gonna happen. I hope we win. This is not
I
gonna age well if
yeah
we lose.
yeah. And then, last podcast we also kind of dived into a little bit on like, okay, if we lose this one or if we win this one even, like what's next year going to look like with where people go and
Yeah, I
all
mean,
that. So it's just going to be test of time. We'll have to see. But I wanted to get into talking about playoffs. I want to have a little talk on just like the NFL format of like the game schedule, playoff bracket, all of that. So this year is the first year we added an extra game. Okay,
what do you mean?
we have an extra game.
Where?
There's an extra game this season.
Uh, huh? Really?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't know that.
So this is the first year we've done that. So I want to talk about playoffs themselves because there was a lot of like debate on that extra game. Is it's just gonna be like more wear and tear on players and it's less of a break and all this stuff. I want to talk about like the actual playoffs themselves. If you look at the playoff bracket, you have whoever clinched for the playoffs,
Yep.
and then the first seed gets a bye, and then they get to face the lowest seeding team. So last year,
So wait,
we
49ers is the lowest seed then?
out of who's left,
Okay.
yeah. So last year, of the people we faced, then we faced the Buccaneers, and then we lost. Okay,
Yeah. Don't bring it up, man.
so but I'm just saying, like, it's kind of lame that it's like one and done.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because you look at the NBA, granted they play like it's 80 something games,
That's
and
insane.
it's not a contact sport, so I guess it makes sense. But they play like 80 something games. They're playing like every other day. Sometimes they get like a 2 day break, but it's a lot of games. They're flying out
Yeah.
like to wherever like twice a week. It's crazy. And then you look at their playoffs though, and granted there's a lot of teams you have to face to then get to that final position. But then you're playing a best of seven, which to me is way more indicative of who is the best team than a one and done. That's it. Granted, for the Super Bowl, like that final game, I agree 100%. That's just like best of one.
Yeah.
Whoever wins that game wins it. But I think leading up, there should be something in place for it not to be like, all right, Team X faces Team Y. Let's say Team X wins and they face Team Z,
Mm-hmm.
and then Team Z wins. But Team Z wouldn't beat Team Y.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
So it's not really showing who's the best team overall.
It's just
I
showing who
think
can
there,
make their way through the ranks.
yeah, I think there should be some.
Like loser bracket of the playoff?
That's what my thought is that there should be a loser bracket. I don't think they should play like best of three because that'd be
Yeah.
way too long for a playoff. Like, that'd be like months.
Yeah.
But I think a loser bracket would be the perfect thing to be like, all right, let's say Packers first seed, they have a bye week, and then they face whoever. Let's say they beat them, they go up. Let's say like last year they lose. Okay, well, we still had a week break, and now we're in the loser bracket. So we're still also benefiting from the first seed because we would have the week break, but then we'd also be a position forward in the loser bracket already.
Right.
So we would already know what team we're facing because, the two worst seeded teams or whoever lost, they would have already faced each other that week and then we play them. I think a loser bracket is like the perfect thing to actually show the best team. I haven't like really like thought it down or like drawn it
Yeah.
out on like how a loser bracket would work with, having, like the championship game or whatever. Not sure, but I think that'd be interesting to
Yeah.
see.
Yeah. I
So,
mean, yeah, I agree. If there was some sort of losers bracket implemented, it would definitely show is the better team out of the playoff games. But it obviously is not like that way.
Because if you
Just gonna have to
think
stick with what we have,
let's say, like the Packers face whoever, they lose them, they go to the loser bracket, and then they also, um, I don't know, like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
Again, it would be so wonky with it being, you know, you're facing people from different
yeah,
divisions or whatever, but yeah,
yeah,
I don't know. I think it would be interesting. I feel like there should be something put into place. They could even just remove the extra game that they had this year and do that if that helped out.
for sure.
But yeah.
Is there any sort of Bucks talk that you would like to speak of? Because I am not well versed with the good old basketballs. So,
Well, since we last talked, well, yeah, so last time I had a little painting a picture
yep.
on all Bucks. Um, Yesterday we just went against Chicago Bulls and we beat them. There's little controversy on Grayson Allen. He blocked Alex Caruso, and it was like it was a foul. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so you already know it's like bad.
Right.
But like Alex Caruso, it kind of got tangled, is what it looked like. And Alex Caruso kind of hit the floor hard,
Ooh.
and it's definitely not something that you want to see like in sports in general. And it's definitely not something you want to see as like, hey, I'm a Bucks fan and I'm watching this guy and he does it. Um, I don't think it was like intentional or anything, and I don't think there's any like malicious conduct
Okay.
involved. But it does suck that it did come from Grayson Allen just because that's how Grayson Allen was kind of viewed before he came to the Bucks. Is he was kind of not like a dirty player, but a little rough. So I guess we'll just have to see how that kind of pans out. I
For
don't
sure.
know if they're going to take any further action with that or not. Not entirely sure. And it also sucks because I actually really like Alex Caruso. So it's like, you know, I don't like seeing him. I wouldn't want to see Alex Caruso then view the Bucks that way. Not, just like viewing Grayson Allen's um like what he did and take the Bucks as all of that. Because it sucks because, then it also like adds to the like, oh, Chicago Bulls and you have Milwaukee and it's like adding to the rivalry, even though
Right.
the Chicago Bulls and the Bucks aren't like the biggest rivalry out there compared to like some teams that we dislike. So I wouldn't want Alex Caruso then to like hate us
Right.
because I
Right.
like him and I don't think we need to have like another Wisconsin and like that type of thing going on like we do with the Bears and all that. So
Yeah. Yeah. We don't need another rivalry in a
yeah.
different sport. But if we're okay to move from the sports topic, there is a topic that we would love to talk about. And I know some people who listen to this podcast don't like the game talk. This isn't more of a like, oh, I just captured this point and it did this. It's more of like a business
Business.
adventure that happened over the weekend.
Hmm.
Recently, Call of Duty was owned by Activision and whoever else makes the game with it, right?
Hmm.
They recently, Activision and Blizzard, as a joint company, got bought out by Microsoft. Now, Microsoft owns, Xbox,
Hmm.
Windows, all of probably more companies that we just don't know of because they're just that big.
Yeah, don't they own
Bethesda,
yeah,
and
that's what
then
I was trying to think of.
other different gaming companies. But they bought Activision slash Blizzard for I think 70 million or 70 billion with a B
Yeah, I think it
dollars.
was
It was 68.7.
68. Yeah.
It was 68.7, and obviously there's people memeing on the internet like, oh, should have just made it the funny number,
Yeah.
69 billion. But with this new purchase of Call of Duty, there's also comes questions circulating.
Hmm.
Will Call of Duty become a Game Pass exclusive Xbox game, and you can only play Call of Duty on PC and Xbox? or just
Well,
specifically Xbox. But I
to
know,
touch,
yeah, go ahead.
unless you were gonna say it, and you might have, but just to like touch on that, they've like stated like
Yeah,
that they're going to produce the games to try and involve as many people as possible. They're not gonna
right.
like block any other platform.
They
So
they
it is
said,
gonna stay on like
yeah,
Sony systems.
they said that they're going to respect the contract that they have with Call of Duty, but they're going to be making some changes, which means Call of Duty is not going to be coming out every single year. Now, I don't know if you know about this, but they stated that they're going to be going bi yearly,
Did
which
they like when did that drop?
I think today.
Was that like an interview or a
It,
tweet or
I
something?
think it was either, I don't know exactly what it was, but obviously TikTok, yeah, that's where I get my
Mm.
news. They said that instead of them going yearly with a new Call of Duty, it's going to be Call of Duty in, let's say, 2021. 2022 they skip. 2023 new Call of Duty, just so they can refine
Hmm.
the edges, make the game more
Yeah.
better than it should be. And with Microsoft, I don't know if they own the metaverse. Do they own the metaverse?
Dude, I don't know what like
Do you not know what the
I
metaverse is?
I've that word has been thrown around so much.
You just,
Like I know like oh the metaverse is supposed to be like the VR like oh
yes.
wow I can but like
Okay.
who cares? Like
Okay.
what? Like I don't why is this a thing?
So
I don't know.
the movie Ready Player One is a good
Yeah.
example of what the metaverse is trying to create.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know what Ready Player One is, the movie's been out for a while, but I'm not going to spoil much. But it is a like VR esque like world where you can make your character in this world whatever you want it to be, male, female, animal, you know, doesn't really
Mm.
matter, but you can make your character do whatever they want. In this verse, you have different worlds that you can go to, whether it be a game, a classroom, maybe a social gathering like bar esque setting. There's probably different locations, like you can maybe be in the metaverse and teleport to France or, Beijing, something. But this whole metaverse thing in real life now that they're trying to recreate is a place to make humans' lives easier, right? Let's say let's say I'm mentally or physically disabled and I can't get out of the house. I'm wheelchair bound, right? But I still want to work. So I go into the metaverse and I'm very well versed with France and its people and its landmarks. The metaverse then would hire me to be a tour guide to people who
Mm.
want to go to France through the metaverse, right? I would get paid real life money to walk around this virtual area of France and teach people, like, this is the Eiffel Tower, made in
Yeah.
whatever date, you know. If we make our way this way and everybody's walking in the metaverse to see these places before they maybe actually fly there in real life so that they're well known to everything around them.
I
You've got
just
something
imagine
brewing. Go ahead.
you spawn in, right? You're
Yeah.
tour guys, maybe just like a normal person. Like
Yeah.
imagine you're the tour guide, right?
I'm sure
You're like,
that
oh,
they would have some
I
sort
just
of
got
regulation.
yeah. But I'm just saying, like, oh, you spawn in and you're the tour guide. Oh, I just got hired by the metaverse. Sick. I'm making real money. You know, I'm able to. Oh, I'm touring whatever museum and I'm showing people the stuff. Like imagine you're like looking at it, right? And this is the blah 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 made in blah 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 and all these facts. And you turn over your shoulder and you look at your crowd of people touring with you,
Yeah.
and you just see like a dinosaur, rabbit,
Yep.
some dude with like three freaking fingers or
Yeah.
something, and like one guy is morphed with a freaking bouncy ball. I don't know,
And
like
like I feel like at first that would be very just like awkward to see and it would be funny. Obviously over time it's going to become normal that these people are going
Hmm.
to be wanting to dress up like that. It's going to be trolls, obviously.
Oh yeah.
But
Well, I mean, I guess they would still have to like pay for the service or
right,
whatever.
right. But another area of work that the metaverse would advertise is okay, online schooling. We have that these days. People are connecting to Zoom and people are learning through like face cams. Now,
Hmm.
if you take that idea and put it into the metaverse, you have a teacher wearing a headset with his own chalkboard in the room, and he's talking to people with that have to do online schooling. You know,
Yeah, like if like you think about that through COVID and like online teaching, like
and
let's say even just to like the high
yeah,
school. Let's say you have a lab, right? You can't do a lab. You can't take that stuff home.
but you can do it
So
in the
now,
metaverse.
yeah, now you can have your lab table and mixing whatever
You
chemicals and
could
all
make
that
your
stuff.
classroom in like a witch's basement, right?
Dude, you could like if
We're going to talk
just like
about
click a button,
mythological gods
you
today. We're
could
all going to
take
be in the air today.
yeah, you could take like a sick tour like booyah, I'm on the moon. Booyah, I'm on Mars.
Today we're
You
talking
know?
about World War II. Let's go take a look at what it looks like firsthand, right?
Yeah.
Like that is just the probably very little bit that could happen and it's going to evolve over time. And that's
Well,
that yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
in my I think it was senior year, my writing class, we had a whole unit just on like the Holocaust, and we just like wrote like poems and stuff like that.
Right.
And
I actually got won an award for putting my Holocaust poem in that like section of the
yeah,
building.
the one in like the art thingy,
Yep.
that art room, I forget the name of that thing.
It
It's
was
supposed
very
to have a
cool.
certain
It
name.
was very cool. I a Holocaust
Yeah.
a poem of a person, and I scarred the paper to make it look burned and old and ruined. It's very
I
cool.
might have mine on my drive. Oh no, that
I
probably
think they
got
kept
wiped.
mine.
Hmm.
I don't have it anymore.
Dang. But they like this kind of relates to like where we're at right now with that type of technology. I mean it's been like 3, 4 years, but I
Mhm.
mean in terms of like the similar style of we brought in, it was a big like I forget what those, not a pill box, like what those huge ones, but a similar like heavy duty box, like an army
Okay.
box, and it had a bunch of phones, and then like the VR that you slide the
Yes, I
phone in,
remember
kind of
that.
like those ones. Yeah, and we took that virtual tour, and it was pretty good for it being like school equipment.
Right.
And so now imagine how that's going to be like in just like 2, 3 years, and people are going to
Yep.
be hooked up like probably like full on VR headset.
It's like all right,
You know,
everybody, let's go on to the computer lab. We're going to be walking through France and learning all about its culture today. If
yeah,
you have the country France, go this way. If you have the country
yeah.
Egypt, go this way.
You think
And
about global studies and how like
yep,
you have your own individual country for all those projects. Like you just be like, okay, I'm gonna type it on the computer. I got Norway, sick. Boom, I'm
let's
there
go
now.
look
It's
at
like
what's
okay,
in
let's start
Norway.
learning. Yeah, dang.
That is the education side of metaverse. Then there's
Yeah,
obviously the playing games fun side of metaverse as well. Again, I don't really know what the metaverse has and entails, but I can only assume that it's going to be something similar to Ready Player One, where they have
yeah.
racing and like some sort of first person shooter where you're just running around collecting coins, and then with these coins, they can ultimately go around the metaverse and buy things. Yeah, I mean, I'm one scared of the metaverse and two very excited because you never know where it could go.
I'm
Actually,
curious to see like
we've
where it goes from just like VR.
yeah,
Because like we have VR headsets, like there's like the PSVR, there's Oculus Rift and all that. I want to know like when we're gonna get to the point where it's like difference between just like VR, oh I pop on a headset, maybe there's cameras viewing where I'm at. I have some tracking sensors on me to like metaverse where it's like I freaking plug in and I'm
Mm-hmm.
like in this thing, you
Yeah.
know? Like I wonder when we're gonna get to like that
And
defining point.
I've been saying Microsoft owns it, but I'm thinking now Mark Zuckerberg owns it.
Yeah, that like
Facebook.
that's meta, right?
That's Meta, but I don't know if who owns
So
Metaverse.
yeah, I don't know what like I don't know. I don't know who or what owns or if I don't even know who's doing that. I don't know. I'm not sure.
But I would say on the talk of Metaverse, I had this very interesting talk with the person who did my haircut, right? This is weird segue, right? Got a haircut, looking sharp if you're on video.
Clean.
But this guy, I would say maybe 40s, 50s, and I sit down with him. First question he asked me, he goes, "Are you a gamer?" I was like, "Yeah, I guess so." And then he goes, "Oh, I thought I'd just ask because whenever I have somebody who might play games, I like to talk to them about when I first got my first Xbox and I played the first ever Halo, and that time that I had was very fun." And I was like, "Well, I guess I would call myself a gamer, knowing my setup is probably $3,000 in total at this point, maybe less." But he goes, "Then yeah, you're a real gamer." I'm like, "Well, I don't." I'm like, "I don't do it for a living, but it, I'm not a full gamer." You know what I'm saying? But this conversation with him evolved from he has a PC and he makes racing drones and flies them in VR, and he plays Call of Duty, and he's a campaign guy, and he was very upset that Black Ops 3 didn't have a campaign, and so he really knew what he was talking about. He wasn't just like,
Hmm.
okay, what are some topics I could talk about
Yeah,
and
like,
maybe
hey,
try
fellow
and
kids.
yeah, I'm hip too.
Yeah.
But this guy, we started talking about metaverse stuff, and he was very excited what it could entail. And then we started talking about AI robots with maybe there's not going to be any public jobs anymore. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Because
Yeah.
those labor inducing jobs could just be controlled by AI in the future. Like I could walk into a haircutting place and talk to a robot who knows every haircut in the book. Say, "Hey, I
Hmm.
would like A2." Say, "Okay, I can do that for you." And then they start cutting your hair. Like any sort of labor inducing job could be controlled by an AI in the future. And he was like, "Yeah, but I feel like there's always going to be people who need to fix the robots." And I'm like, not entirely. There
Well, there could be
could
a robot to fix the
It could
robots.
be a robot to fix the robot. But then they're talking about, "Oh, well, who's going to ship the parts?" Well, Amazon already has drones flying parts to people
Yeah.
and packages. So I mean, how far along are we?
Well, see, that's supposed to be, I don't remember exactly, but like people were surveyed in like the 1940s and 50s and stuff, and they were saying like, I hope the greatest advancement we have in the future is just
Flying
more
cars.
time off.
More time off.
And yeah, just like work less. You know, I hope we get productive enough, like through manufacturing and all this stuff, that we can just work less. And now you look at us and it's
It's
seen
slowly
that
getting
we,
there.
well, we're having the manufacturing and like the automation side, but we're still working tons. Like the
Yeah.
US works loads on average compared to everywhere else. And so, like, if we get automated, like everything, granted that wish will come true, but then it's going to be like, but now what? Granted, you'd think more leisure, but if you really think like dark side of it, like
At that
freaking Terminator style,
yeah. At that
you
point,
know?
I feel like who's creating the robots, right? They're obviously working with the government. How are we getting our money to live? Probably through the government, but why would they just randomly give you money? You know what I mean?
Yeah, like it would be a whole, yeah, it almost just doesn't work out just
maybe
because of that reason.
maybe our
Like,
job
okay,
from
so
them
then
would be like clean up the planet at that point.
that, I mean,
Like you get if you
yeah, but
work
won't
for
there be
3
robots to do that?
right. That that's why it's scary to think about that these things could just take place of us. And it's like, "Oh, thank you for our new planet," you know?
Well, then you're really thinking of like Wall-E and you're on a spaceship
Yep.
doing nothing. Yeah.
That ultimately we all go to Wally's world. We're all we're all gonna be chunky people sitting in wheelchairs that can hover and
Yeah.
playing
Did
crochet.
we ever get, yeah, it's like a freaking time traveler goes back and talks to some person. They asked, "Did we ever get flying cars?" No. We didn't get flying cars. We didn't really need it. We didn't need to get anywhere around anywhere. We just had these flying wheelchairs. Yeah. We were on a spaceship. We were zooming around.
He
Oh,
he
nice.
pops in. He's like, "Why is everybody fat?" No reason, no reason whatsoever. But dude, I had a topic in my head and I just lost it. Oh
Oh
no.
no.
Oh god. Oh dude, that's not good for a
Okay,
podcast.
well, while you think of that, I recently ordered some shoes.
You did. I saw them.
Um, yeah, so I went to the mall to look at shoes and I tried some on and get my size.
I
Then I
remember
ordered
my
them.
topic. You go ahead though.
Okay. So I ordered them. So I got two pairs of shoes and I got them really cheap because I had like a student discount. Then I also went through Rakuten, which is just like you get percent off on websites. And then some other stuff. I got referred for that, so I also
Yeah.
had like a sign-in bonus. So I got them really cheap. So I got two pairs of shoes: Nike Air Max XCs and Nike Air Max Impact 3s. And so the XCs are just like bebopping shoes, and the Impact 3s are like training basketball shoes. And so I tried them on, and so like I said, I went to a store to go try them on in person, see what size, and they didn't have the XCs at the shoe store that I tried them on, so I had to try the SCs. So different shoe, but still Nike. So I thought that they would be the same size and they would fit. Got the XCs in person, didn't fit. But
No.
I tried the XCs in a different size at the store because they had them in a different size, and I just think they don't fit my foot like in general. I could get a size higher or lower. I just think the way that they conform my foot don't work. They're
No.
too narrow. So
Oh,
those it sucks because I really like the look of those shoes, and those are the shoes that you call dad shoes.
they are dad
So
shoes, wide
so
feet,
they're going
daddies.
back. So that I'm not gonna have them. But
Good.
the Impact threes did fit, and those shoes are sick. I'm breaking those in. So yeah.
Nice. Nice.
So if you're going to school and you know someone with a Rakuten account, use your student discount, link it up with your school email, have them refer you, and then you buy the shoes within like the first month, and you get like $30 from Rakuten, and you get 10% off. And I went through something else. I'm just
On
blanking on it,
top of
but I
that,
bought the shoes for $30.
you could have used
So
honey and you could have got a promo code.
no, the promo code is where the student
Oh,
discount goes in.
okay.
Yeah,
Honey, that would have been a great segment for you.
yeah.
But I don't know.
You guys slack.
You're just not here. But to continue with what I was thinking before, Keaton's gonna show like the shoes off. Sheesh, those are some pretty sick shoes. For those audio listeners, it's a white shoe with like a black swoosh along the side, like a mesh on the side, and like some black undersoles. But on this topic that I was talking about before, it sort of ties into like a simulation. There, I was listening to a different podcast now. Shout out to this podcast because they're a sick podcast, and you'd probably agree. The Courage and Nate Shot show. They were
Yes.
talking to what's his name? It's gonna bother me. Mr. Beast's partner with Team C's,
Mark Rober.
Mark Rober, was he did work with NASA for like 9 years, and he worked with Apple for 4 years. So you could say he's a pretty smart guy.
Was it Apple?
It was Apple, yeah. Worked with Apple. He was like
You
the
sure?
yes, yeah. I listened to the podcast a couple days ago. But they were talking about some sort of like scenario, and it blew my mind. They were talking about if we live in a simulation, shouldn't we keep it on the down low? Because if the higher power of our simulation figures out that we
Mm-hmm.
know, they could just knock us out, and
Yeah.
it would be Mark Rober's fault because because he knows more than we do. But then Nade Shot, of all people, said that and I'm not bashing on Nade Shot, but he has his dumb moments. He said he read this article, and in the article there was a quote that said, if there's an 8-lane highway and on the side of the highway there was an anthill, we wouldn't the ants wouldn't know what the heck is going on, could not be capable of knowing what's going on with that 8-lane highway. They would just never witness it ever. But if the ants were to in some way mess with the 8-lane highway, we wouldn't second chance or second guess to get rid of them, to fix our situation. And then he blew it up into a bigger idea. If there was a higher society that were observing us, and they were like, yeah, their advancement just maybe could get in contact with us, we're just going to wipe them out now.
Mm-hmm.
They would just, no second thought, get rid of us. So maybe we should keep the simulation
Yeah.
talk on the down low. We know
Yeah.
nothing. If you're listening, we know nothing.
Um,
Was I right with Mark Rober?
I looked it up. I don't know. It's hard to just like find it. He's done stuff with Bill Gates, which is Microsoft.
I mean,
So I'm not sure.
all,
Maybe.
all I
I mean,
remember is
possibly.
he had some degrees that could get him into NASA.
Yeah.
NASA took him, and then Apple gave. Weirdly, he went from NASA to Apple, and that went from Apple to YouTube. So, did he make a good decision? Who knows? He's probably a multimillionaire at this point. I
I
don't
mean,
think it
his
really
videos.
matters.
So yeah, he's all about like science and engineering and everything. And his videos themselves are just funny. He's done like super popular ones, like the burglar like trap or whatever.
Yep,
The
the glitter
uh,
bomb.
yeah, glitter bomb. There you go, where people steal packages off the porch and it's like a tracking device and it shoots glitter and stuff like that. But on like the simulation talk, granted, I don't know. I haven't thought like too deep into it, but I took a whole philosophy class,
Yep.
and granted, me taking one philosophy class isn't like gonna make me super big brained on this topic, but I don't think we're in a simulation.
No.
Just from some points in that class that we talked about, because the class, like when you take philosophy class or any class similar like that, where it's kind of like not necessarily up in the air, but you have to put some real thought into it. They don't teach it to you like, okay, this is what I think, like as a professor, so this is what you think. It's kind of like, here's the information, and you make the decision. And so, from what my decision was, I don't think we are.
But do
But
you think
I
that
do see that
there's
point that you're talking about. Like I don't, not that because I don't think we're in a simulation doesn't mean that that alien scenario couldn't happen.
right?
Like there could be aliens freaking billions light
Yeah,
years away, but they're so advanced that they could come here and then just like, okay, those Earth guys, nah, I
nah,
don't like those,
don't
and
like
just
them.
blow us up.
Right, and they
So
can make it
it's
look
still a
like an accident.
situation, but yeah.
Do you think there's like a higher cathedral,
What?
like like the Rick Cathedral, the from Rick and Morty? There's like
I haven't
a
watched.
higher power that's in control of the whole universe, every
No, I
known
don't think so.
universe. Do you don't think there's a higher cathedral?
Well, I mean, felt like diving into like religion too much, but I think there's a God, but I
Right.
don't think I don't think there's like a subsection where it's a cathedral
Yo,
and
can
like
can you imagine somebody out of this world? We don't know they're out of this world. Just comes in and they're just like, yeah, you're God guy. Who? Like
oh no.
but no opinion, no comment. Um, I'll let everybody believe what they want to believe, depending whatever they believe in, you know. But it is coming to the end of our podcast here.
Oh no.
I hope everybody enjoyed their stay with us. I'm not good at this outro stuff. Keen, take it, please.
Okay. Thank you guys so much for watching the Catch a Glimpse podcast. This is episode 32.
Yes.
Okay? Episode 32, not 31, 32. You can watch episode 31 though. You know, go to YouTube, get the archives, or even iTunes or Spotify. Go watch the past ones. But thank you guys so much for watching. These podcasts are uploaded at 7 a.m. Sunday, iTunes and Spotify, and 4:30 p.m. on YouTube with those visuals if you want to watch us and what we say, our beautiful faces. And if you're
Yeah.
on iTunes and Spotify and never seen us before, you're gonna have to just trust me that we look amazing.
We are
But
Zac Efron, and
yeah,
yeah, let's go.
yep. I just want to say this is another podcast for next week or something or another topic.
Sure.
But like if we were to try and explain it to iTunes and Spotify people who we are without them like ever seeing us, I'd just say like I could be Aaron Rodgers. I think I got his hair beat. So I mean, you know how it goes. But um and then we also have our 4:30 p.m. Wednesday YouTube content. That is weekly. We have some really amazing videos going out on the YouTube channel right now.
Yep.
So go make sure and check those out. We'll be going back to online uploading soon just because school is starting. But go check out those in-person ones because those were amazing. Also check out our Instagram and TikTok for the quick and easy content.
Ooh,
All of these
TikTok.
links are in our link tree, so that leads you everywhere you want to be. So make sure to go check that out. Otherwise, I think that's about it.
Yep.
Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you guys next time, and
Goodbye.
goodbye.